Hello, this is Greg Galvan, along with Brian Sue and Shaun Pinzon with Cal State East Bay's CS230 class, Computing and Responsibility. For our Entrepreneurism and Ethics project, we all agreed that the company should be focused on cybersecurity, since that was a common interest between all of us. After some discussion, we decided on the idea of a firewall, for several reasons, each of which we'll lay out in the course of our wiki here on GitHub. We decided to name our company RedX Firewalls, again, for reasons that we will explain a little bit further. So without further ado, let's dive right into our business plan. So here's our business plan. First, we're going to start with our name. What is RedX Firewalls? Where do we get that name from? Well, a RedX is typically something in a computer you don't want to see. Whether it be a disconnected network drive, some sort of virus or malware, red X's aren't good in computers. And that's what we want to protect against with our firewalls. Any of those red X's that come from malware attacks. And so what is our long-term vision statement? So our goal is to protect users from the everyday risks of the internet, along with providing a higher level of network protection to defend against any vulnerability. And we also want to make network protection easy. Whether you're just browsing the web, want some protection, or a corporation looking for the right protection. We want to implement AI to be able to make it so that our firewall changes as the internet does. And that's really it. And we want to be able to take this and make it something that's going to protect everyone, no matter who they are, what they're doing in their home network. We want to be able to protect you. So our purpose, values, and missions. So we had a few questions here that we wanted to ask ourselves when we were deciding on what product we were going to build. And so the first question is, why do we need firewalls? So disregarding the dynamically part, because that kind of goes into the AI part, but just to protect against your information in an ever-changing web. Why do we require an improved firewall? Well, a lot of firewalls right now aren't scalable. You have to buy a certain type of firewall based on what kind of network need you have. But we want to have a firewall that's able to adapt to any situation that is put in. And that's what's going to be perfect about having an AI system too. And for the typical user, current firewall solutions, they're complicated. If people don't want to set up a firewall because it's complicated, they're not going to. And we want to make it easy enough that a person is going to be willing to set up a firewall because it's going to make them more protected in the long run. And again, going back to the scalability, no matter what level of networking you might need, our product, we want to build that for you. Finally, why does a firewall need AI? AI is kind of that word that we hear a lot nowadays. Well, because we want to build a firewall that will change just as the internet does. New threats appear on the web every single day, and computers know about those threats first. And that's why we want to build an AI that will help protect you in your networking and computer needs. So who's RedX built for? You, honestly. Again, going back to that scalability, if you're just using the internet to stream movies, you want to just protect some of your personal data, or if you're a business looking to protect big data, RedX is for you. This is the RedX team. So this is me, Gregory Galvan. That's Brian, and this is Shaun Pinzon. So I've worked in IT. Brian's also worked in network administration. We both know exactly what people need in terms of their own networks, and especially with how people act in those networks. People aren't going to be willing to set up a network if it's so difficult to do so. And we have that experience of knowing what those customers need and actually how to administer and maintain a firewall in the first place, and how difficult those are. And then with Shaun, he's definitely going to be our good programmer. He started learning about HTML5, JavaScript in high school, taking a current class on Python, which is going to be what we're going to be using in our firewall, some Python stuff. So he's created some personal projects such as the 3D first-person platformer. He's also created a mini-player versus AI game with Python. And then here's our strategy. So we have a few different levels: our 2-year, 3-year, and 4 to 5-year, and then a 7-year. So the 2 years, we want to have all of our testing and prototypes built and heavy local use. 3 years, we want to be able to expand our offices, hire more experienced employees, and have heavy use in the state. 4 to 5 years, again, more expansion of our offices, and then heavy use in the country. And then finally, 7 years, global use. So we have a few competitors: Cisco, Barracuda, and Sophos. All of them have their own firewall solutions. And Cisco's really going to be the biggest one out of all of them because they're already kind of that name brand networking company. And so we have a couple case studies that we want to look at. Finally, our slogan: use protection. It's fun. As fun as that might sound, it goes to the core of what we at RedX believe. Firewall solutions and setting up some sort of firewall shouldn't be a headache. It should, maybe not be fun, but at least not be so difficult. And so in making that a little bit more easy, in making it simple to set up, we're hoping that people will go ahead and use network protection. And next, we're going to go ahead and jump to our cultural policy.
Okay, now we're moving into our cultural policies. We want to be completely accountable for anything that may have happened to your data. If there was a data breach and we could not stop a malware attack, we want to take complete responsibility for that. We're not going to point fingers and blame anybody else. We'll be completely accountable for it. We want to be completely open with you. If anything may have happened, we want to quickly get to you, talk to you, and figure out what happened. We will always be as transparent when working with you, is to make sure you know we care. We'll be honest with you, and we'll show integrity. We are on your side, and we hope to keep all your data protected. We design our products with our grandparents in mind. So not everyone is comfortable with technology, and that's why we're here. Our firewalls are built to give you the peace of mind that you're safe in the online world. We also design our products for the ease of setup so that our technology is accessible to everyone. A commitment to keeping your private information safe. Despite collecting diagnostics and usage data from our devices, that's it. Your data is yours and yours alone. We are motivated by your safety, our customers, and the simplicity in our product. We fear cyber attacks. Who doesn't? And we also fear data losses. But that's why we're creating this, to protect you from all those things that we fear. We believe that simplicity and protection is key. Okay, we're moving into our ethics policy. We want to implement a framework for AI interacting with the malicious parts of the internet community. We wish to make the internet a safe place. That means sending our AI to find those parts of the internet, like the deep web, and make sure that you're protected from anything that comes from it. If our AI can detect a threat, then that's just us doing our job. We want to simplify the firewall protection process for a general population. It's currently pretty difficult to get a well-configured firewall set up. Take it from the guys who know. We want to make it easier for people to get protected by streamlining the firewall installation process. We've stripped the setup process to the bare bones and only asking user help for where we need it most. Protection shouldn't be for those who know how to set it up. It should be for everyone. We believe in using technology, specifically AI, to help others. A lot of people either believe that technology is malicious or that it's complicated, or some combination of both. We want to make it so that technology isn't just easy and protective, but that it's helpful. Our AI helps map out potential threats to not just one user, but once a firewall system detects a potential threat on one network, that warning is sent out to every Red X firewall. You can help keep your data protected one firewall at a time. Our desired board is to have Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and Jeff Bezos. For those of you that does not know who Elon Musk is, he's a citizen of South Africa and the US and a CEO and co-founder of Tesla and SpaceX. Tesla is a car company, and it's known by a lot of people. He knows how to turn a startup into a success. He's involved with several organizations such as OpenAI, Neuralink, and others. He has made several startups and sold them for millions to billions. He has the most up-to-date method and information for building a company from the ground up in the current environment. Bill Gates. I mean, if you don't know who Bill Gates is, that's insane because he is the co-founder of Microsoft and is an entrepreneur and philanthropist. He was the CEO and president of Microsoft up until 2014. Up until 2014, he was the richest person in the world. He was criticized in the 90s for his business tactics, which were considered anti-competitive. In 2014, he stepped back from his role in Microsoft to focus on his charity foundation called the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. His foundation has donated billions to other charity and groups, funded multiple scientific endeavors such as medicine across the world. Gates has widespread knowledge of networking both in technology, other disciplines would be a welcome addition to our goals. Okay, now Jeff Bezos. He is an entrepreneur, philanthropist, founder and CEO of Amazon, the online retail company. As we all know, many people are moving to Amazon or any online shopping thing due to the coronavirus. And Jeff Bezos created one of the most popular online shopping apps. He began the company as an online bookstore and has since been expanded to sell just about anything and everything. Amazon is currently the largest online sales company, the largest internet company by revenue, and he is one of the richest people in the world. Amazon also hosts the largest cloud infrastructure with their web services. His business acumens can't be understand, and knowledge of web services would be invaluable to our product.
So here we've reached the experimentation and priorities. Our experimentation procedures, our prototype will be cheap and yet effective. We'd start off with just the hardware. The hardware in the final version should be basically like the product, the final version of the actual thing. Initial setup will be as easy as possible. Our first prototypes should be on old computers with added network cards for LAN and WAN access. We create multiple prototypes in order to run the initial machine learning for the AI to make things as simple as possible. We'll start off with open source operating systems, and we'll go with Linux distro called IPFire. The prototype software in AI will be applying custom Python scripts that will trigger commands when certain ports are being accessed. We'd implement an AI with Python, and we'd go with pre-built AI solutions. We prefer open source AI that is used typically for game development. That's to try and create a good machine learning process, which would kind of give the firewall game rules, which will be the parameters for blocking and allowing features. Additionally, we look into API access for malware databases and dark web compilations. We'd count those entries as enemies in the game, and AI needs to defend the ground. So for the learning environment, we'd set up an environment for the AI to learn in with automated virtual machines running automation software to try and do penetration testing from both inside the firewall's networks and outside. Any generation of AI would generate after a virtual machine has detected malware. This process would continue until all types of malware, both old and new, can be blocked without supervision. Each test will be recorded and into an in-house SQL server. We will carefully monitor and measure the infection rate of computers, port blockage versus required requests, and port openings versus malicious TCP UDP requests. Here we have a kind of a CAD generated picture of the prototype that we kind of built just for presentation. We complement the CAD software for the external housing and fixtures to build the hardware and run our version of Linux. We'd create a web access page that would allow users to modify the game rules the AI follows, such as allowing port 80 to open for a web server or ports 8000, 8080, and 8554 for a new camera system. Of course, this would be based on English names for each of these features, such as website and VR system, SQL Server, etc. Then with the prototypes in-house, we would open a challenge to the public for both white and black hat hackers, give a small bounty for anyone who can penetrate through the firewall and explain how they did so. These would be our worst case scenarios testings in the event that a business started to get hit with attacks. Then we'd send a beta prototypes for college students to test with, and although many of them won't be running business applications, it would still be a good start to seeing how the real world goes. Once we're confident that at-home applications work for the prototypes, we'd send models to startup companies and see how the firewall manage on a business application. Our priorities is ensuring that the AI can detect and filter through TCP UDP requests going through the firewall, and said AI can be built into IP Fire.